So we're still just waiting on one staff member for the Waitakere deed. So we're just going to go quickly to the Natural Environment and Water Quality Targeted Rates and Regional Pest Management Plan. I think we have Craig and Sam, Rachel, Imogen.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. Sorry, point of order, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Oh, kia ora, Councillor.
Look, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to get some guidance from you as to how the balance of the meeting is going to be managed for the rest of the afternoon. We've still got a couple of items to go. I don't want to prolong this too much. I don't wish to relitigate the debates that we've had this morning, but I do want to ask maybe, and you don't have to do it right now, but just for you to reflect upon and give some clarification, maybe at a later date, as to how matters are going to be handled when we do have contentious matters. My only plea to the chair, whoever that chair may be, is that the chair will defend the ability of members to give their contribution without then being summarily called up for, quote, bullshit, unquote. My view, Chair, is that there have been some debates that we've had today which I don't think reflect us at our best. That's fine. But I think that, for example, if I had called such a statement against a councillor for whom you agreed with that councillor's position, if I had made a comment like that and called that person out, you would have been all over me, and rightly so, because it would have been inappropriate for me to do so. And my only request to you as the chair is that you are consistently neutral in upholding the standard that you would expect at council meetings. This goes for every council meeting, not just this one. But since the matter was raised today, I just ask you to reflect on that moving forward, because I know we're at the end of the year. I know people are tired, and I am too. But I would like to think that we can all make our contribution equally, and that the chair will ensure that we conduct these discussions without that sort of reflection, which I thought was pretty tough. But that's all, Chair, and I'm happy for you to take that offline to give that some consideration.
Sure.
Thank you.
Kia ora, Councillor, and yes, I did reflect on the debate. It was a tense debate. I did obviously stop Member Henare when he interrupted you, and I sadly wish you had been able to continue, and that was not appropriate. Also, the use of a swear word, it did happen, and I didn't know how to exactly catch it, and then it finished. But I guess your own statement around elected members around this table looking for a sugar hit on social media was also an attack. So the room, I either have to try and pick out everyone's pieces, and I also would have taken any point of order and asked for an apology as well. So, but I will say that I will continue to work on trying to act on everyone's pieces, but I guess the level around the room moved up and down. I do wish that people would focus on their own views and opinions, not calling out each other, and that was happening across the table quite a bit, but it is difficult unless someone wants to call a point of order of at what point do I pull someone up. But I do acknowledge what you're saying, and I'm happy to have a conversation with everyone at the end of this meeting around how we all do better, as a couple of meetings this year have been pretty upsetting for some members.
Chair, I didn't call a point of order because I wouldn't expect that I would need to. You're the chair. If you wish to participate in that sort of debate, don't be the chair, but you're the chair, so I'm relying on you to deal with it when it happens. Now, you could call me up if you want, but there are some things that I do think reflect the standard where you do need to call it up, and I don't think you should be relying on me to call a point of order. Anyway, Chair, look, I think the point is made, and you've apparently reflected upon it. I appreciate that, so I'm happy to let this thing go.
Thank you, Councillor, and I'm happy to raise the bar, but it takes all of us individually to raise that bar. Kia ora, right, on to the item 14. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. I'm happy to second, but we'll let the presentation first.
Tēnā koutou katoa. I am Samantha Hill. I'm the General Manager for Environmental Services, and alongside me is Craig McElroy, General Manager for Healthy Waters and Flood Resilience, and Dr. Imogen Bassett, the Head of Natural Environment Specialist Services. Thank you for the opportunity to share the highlights report for the Natural Environment and Water Quality Targeted Rates for 2023-24, noting that delivery is well underway for 24-25. The Natural Environment and Water Quality Target Rates were established in 2018 with support from Aucklanders to respond to increasing pressures and to grow Auckland Council's investment in protecting and restoring our natural environment and improving our water quality. Both targeted rates made significant progress in 23-24 towards achieving these outcomes. The highlights report for 23-24 provides detailed annual highlights and case studies and will be published on the Council website. Local boards will also be provided with annual snapshot reports, which provide an overview of the targeted rate work delivered in each local board area. Throughout the year, quarterly updates on the programs are provided to the governing body, with additional updates provided to committees and local boards as required. Wrong way, maybe. The Natural Environment Targeted Rate funds the protection and restoration of native ecosystems and species, and importantly, the implementation of the Regional Pest Management Plan 2020-2030. Under Section 100B of the Biosecurity Act, the Council is required to report annually on its operational plan for implementing the Regional Pest Management Plan. The annual report for 23-24 was provided as an attachment in the agenda report, and an updated operational plan can be found on the Council website. The next two slides present a summary of key NETA delivery achievements for 23-24, taken from the highlights report from the 6th year of delivery across our 8 programs: biodiversity focus areas, mainland, enabling tools, marine and pathways, islands, expanding community action, plant pathogens, and marine ecology. In the 23-24 financial year, the Natural Environment Targeted Rate Programme spent a total of $30.9 million against a budget of $30.9 million, demonstrating the scale of the pressures on our natural environment and the focus and dedication of the teams delivering this important work. In 23-24, we made significant progress on a number of items. The Hanua Ranges Kodi Health Baseline Survey alongside Mana Whenua, better understanding the state and distribution of our regionally important Indigenous species and their management needs. We now have conservation status reports for birds, freshwater fish, reptiles, amphibians, bats, and vascular plants. Maintaining possums to low numbers across 141,000 hectares. Pest plant control in regional parks, protecting and restoring biodiversity on Hauraki Gulf Islands, and keeping islands pest-free. Supporting community-led conservation with grants and a range of practical support, including tools and equipment, and developing an ecosystem restoration guide in partnership with Mana Whenua. In addition to already programmed work, we played a key role in supporting Biosecurity New Zealand with the response to exotic Kaulerpa in the region. And supported by the Auckland Council Comms and Communications team and community partners, we've had an uplift in sharing NETA stories and the positive difference the targeted rate makes. This remains an ongoing focus for us, including attribution for Council and being clear on Council's role versus the role of central government. I'll now pass to Craig for water quality targeted rate highlights.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks very much, Sam. So we've got 5 key major initiatives in the water quality targeted rate. They being both the Western and Eastern Isthmus water quality programs, the Safe Network, Safe Septic, contaminant reduction, and urban and rural stream rehabilitation. A bit like the environmental targeted rate, very close to budget, actual of 45.7 versus a budget of 43.6. So these are some of the highlights for the year, but what I thought I might do, particularly in relation to the big, large programs around the Western Isthmus and the Eastern Isthmus, is just perhaps highlight where we are today, because bearing in mind we're nearly 6 months into the new financial year. So on the Western Isthmus program, Waterview separation stage 1 is now under construction, and we've completed both stages 1 of 2 of the Point Chevalier separation, and that project was delivered through Auckland Transport, who are also doing work in the area at the same time. On the Eastern Isthmus, we are now very close to starting physical works on the Newmarket Auckland University project. That's our big separation project in Newmarket, with physical works due to start in January next year. I'd also like to acknowledge the great working relationship we've got with Watercare around Safe Networks, because the Safe Networks program isn't just a Healthy Waters initiative. We can only get there by working hand in glove with Watercare and looking at what I call detailed analysis. It's really like an MRI scan of the network in order to determine exactly what the plumbing is doing and what needs to happen to the plumbing to sort it out. And we've been very successful with the amount of inspections that have been carried out, and reassuring to have 200 private drainage issues resolved during that year. The Safe Septic program is also working well. This is where effectively septic tanks in Auckland effectively have a warrant of fitness, and there, like all warrant of fitnesses, there are regular checks to make sure that people are complying with their maintenance requirements. It's been a really successful program. Also, our contaminant reduction program. We've had a big focus in the 23-24 year around Puhunui catchment, with 255 businesses visited, and although 36% no follow-up action, obviously by inference there's 64% that did have follow-up action. So you can see that these initiatives are quite important to promote good behaviour. And that's me, and I'm very happy to hand over for any questions. Kia ora.
Kia ora, thank you so much. Huge body of work again, and significant, and it's great you're hitting those targets as well. Thank you. Councillor Turner.
Sorry, thank you. My question is specifically to the netta targeted rate. I was just racing here trying to find my evidence, but I can't find it. When I was on the Waitaki Rangers local board and that target rate first came into place, we were given some very specific, detailed financial information. You know, the first year we got a table which showed how much was collected, which gave the different, headings and showed the amount of money spent in each heading. Then it turned into a pie chart where it gave us some dollar values. Then that pie chart turned into just percentages. And, only this year, I think, a number of the local board members asked me to find out exactly how much of that targeted rate had been spent in the Waitaki Rangers. And I still haven't got an answer to that. I still haven't been able to go back to them. And some of the feedback I have got is that, some went to environmental and some went to another regulatory and some went somewhere else. And, is this stuff you talked about going to bring us back to that good granular detail?
Through the chair, thank you for your question. We can ask for that detail, so the snapshots that you're going to receive at the end of this week, after this meeting and after the sharing of the highlights report here, the local board snapshots, I don't know goes down to that exact level of detail on the finances, but I can pass on that feedback and request that you do receive a level of detail on the financial information for the spend per local board.
It's not just per local board, it's per subject, it's per delivery line as
well. Per delivery line.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, team. I had two questions, and my first question was around when will local boards get to know, the spend in their area, noting that they were very supportive of putting these two rates in, noting that, it's tough for Aucklanders out there and it's an extra rate, so I think we should be celebrating the outcomes. And that brings me to my second question, because I'm hoping that kind of the 7 people online can have 7 media people. I think we need to talk about this a lot. This is a very successful program of work, both the natural environment and the water quality. They're 2 very big issues for Aucklanders, and we have tasked Aucklanders with paying extra for us to deliver in this space. So to that end, although you're selling the great story to us, I really do want you to sell it to a wider audience, i.e. Aucklanders, because it is good news and it does cost them extra. So my question is, what are you doing to help promote this work with the media? And maybe it's to both of you.
The comms team are putting out a release on this generally, and then over time we've done a significant number of stories on individual projects, but we will make sure the PDFs are available to share as well, and when we get that local feedback. But there might be some other...
Through the chair, with the snapshots, I understand they are going out this week, so either tomorrow or before Friday, certainly after the release of this report with you here today. So snapshots should get to local boards imminently. And in terms of selling the story to Aucklanders, we are really conscious of that and really want to keep pushing those stories. And we've done a big lift in doing that this year and over the past year, but we will continue to give that really good attention. And our comms team are really supportive of us doing that too. And also the community partners really support us with sharing those stories, and that's been really great to see as well. Actually, Imogen, I don't know if you've got anything you'd like to add to that?
I mean, through the chair, just to add that, I mean, we know from census data that obviously some of our traditional media channels don't necessarily reach as many Aucklanders as they might have done in the past because of the changing nature of our communities, but we do have some really great teams within council who've got some really excellent channels that can reach into those more diverse Aucklanders, and so that's absolutely on our radar to be really trying to make sure that we're reaching all Aucklanders to sell this good news.
Thanks, Imogen. And look, I don't want to labour the fact, but when you do the local board snapshot, please also include that something next door actually affects their area. And I think that I'll just use the Newmarket project, Craig, as an example. It's not in the Ōrākei local board, but it has a huge effect on the Ōrākei local board area. So I'm just saying, you know, we helicopter over Auckland, don't we? And sometimes we can get a little bit too specific board by board. So just feel free to explain why something next door does have a tangible effect when you put that together. But I won't speak again, Chair, but this is fantastic work and congratulations to you all.
Kia ora. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Member Ashby.
Kia ora. Thank you for the great report, and yeah, wanted to tautoko Deputy Mayor's comments. These are great initiatives, really well supported by Aucklanders, and do demonstrable, measurable things, outcomes for our environment. And so there is a question here, but I was at a hui the other day where a number of iwi used this as an example when talking to central government about some of their environmental deficits. Just so, yeah, well done, and long may it continue. My questions are, lessons learnt from some of the examples that you've reported on with iwi. How can those be taken and emulated in their local context? Or is there an intent to, as time goes by, to take lessons learnt out of, the work up in Kauau and other places? And the other question is there a role, given that these targeted rates are doing really good work in these two spaces, they're also, through the partnership arrangements, delivering some kia ora tamaki makaurau outcomes. And so is there a role for Ngā Matarai to also come to these committees, working in with you to demonstrate how it's sort of bang for buck, you're getting a bunch of outcomes from these things. So thank you.
So I can speak from a healthy waters and flood resilience perspective. We're really looking to embed our iwi partnerships in our whole business. So we're not just talking about the water quality targeted rate, we're talking about making space for water. We're talking about business as usual, and we're also looking for opportunities across the wider council group as well. Because I think that way we do need to take a sort of a whole of life approach and a whole of catchment approach to all of those opportunities. And that also includes the opportunities around better ecological, better biodiversity outcomes. Because I think the thing about operating in this field is that there are really no hard boundaries. and exactly around the point that the Deputy Mayor was making around the local board clusters, for example, around the different harbour catchments. We really think that working across those boundaries is where we're going to get our best outcomes. Kia ora.
Through the chair, kia ora. To answer your first question around lessons learnt, absolutely. We are very deliberate about evaluation on this work, very deliberate about making sure we learn from what we've done and that we constantly improve what we're doing and get more efficient and effective as we go. So definitely very, very strong on that. In terms of the partnership, yes, we deliver some incredible partnership projects through NETA, and yes, that's a good idea around bringing Ngā Mātarai more closely into a presentation like this to tell that story as well. Kia ora. Again, Imogen, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Thank you. Right, there are no more questions. I'll get you to step back and then we will have a short debate. Councillor Walker's moved it, I've seconded. If there's no speakers, I'll just speak really briefly. Any other one? Just want to acknowledge Te Kauro Āmake. I know that actually a lot of the start of this discussion around the environmental targeted rates was the rāhui and the work that needed to be done in the Waitakere Ranges around Kodi dieback. And I remember at the time, I think it was about 300,000 we were spending a year on Kodi dieback mitigation and measures. And then with the natural environment targeted rate, I think they went up to about 3.5 million a year. Significant increase, but backed by Te Kauro at the time and really pushed us into acting. I've had a few experiences this year that have been from these targeted rates. Recently, last week, had the opportunity to go out to Hunua and help tag some kōkaku, which was very magical experience, but a testament to a lot of people who come before and the volunteers, but also the funding. Significant amount of natural environment targeted rate funding both goes into the trapping, the support for the volunteers, and for the 1080 drops that help move from one breeding pair 30 years ago to 259 breeding pairs now. And I'm sure there's way more out there. That was a couple of years ago, that 259. But to see those chicks and the parents jumping above us was pretty special. To Craig's team, we were in Milford on Friday night for a flooding-related meeting, but actually there was a lot of focus on water quality. And I remember after 10 years of a long-term no-swim warning at the Wairoa Estuary in Milford, the water quality targeted rate and the Safe Networks program that was never funded before went through about 1,000 households, found about 35 issues, bateman notices, everything went out there. And after 10 years of a long-term no-swim warning that was put on under North Shore City, that was able to be removed. And that's happening right across the city. Those are just a few examples. I can talk about the release of the kōkapu with Te Kauro as well, a couple earlier on in the year around water quality and the focus on this space. There's so many amazing examples. Had a post today, Takaronga, there's kaka on the shore, both in Birkenhead and Devonport, which hasn't happened in decades. So, kaka breeding by the looks in Birkenhead, and there's a pair on Takaronga, Mount Victoria today that is testament to mana whenua, Aucklanders and everyone putting money into these targeted rates, which were well supported. 68-70% of people, every long-term plan since 2018, have supported these in big numbers. And to all our volunteers and the council and DOC teams that do this mahi, it's huge and well kind of supported by our communities. So this is just a taste of that, but get out into your communities and understand what this is being spent on, because it's making a true difference, both in water quality and in natural environment. And I know a lot of people have been fighting for this sort of investment for a long time. So kia ora and thank you. All those in favour? Any opposed? Wouldn't have thought so. Cool. Kia ora. So back down to item 11. Apologies, especially to our mana whenua partners at the back who've been waiting.